Hello and welcome to the RealTime Fantasy Sports Show. I'm Jeff Paur, senior writer at the RealTime Fantasy Sports, joined by Logan Glaser of RT Sports as well. Logan, appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Jeff.
Logan, we are up to our last fantasy baseball position preview of the season, the preseason, and it is the relief pitcher spot. So we are going to preview the relief pitcher spot for the coming year. We're going to give you a target, a fade, a breakout, and a rookie. Logan, this position, it's always tough to gauge. I feel like there's always that level of elite guys that have little competition that you feel confident about getting. Then you got that next group where a little more shaky, but still have on pretty solid ground. Then you have that next group, which is just kind of up in the air and you don't know who's going to close for sure. And it's tough. I feel like it's a tough position.
You also
year.
feel like in that area, there's also a lot of closers that kind of break out and save fantasy teams.
Yeah.
Sometimes they emerge and they get you 30 saves from that group, and you're taking a guy in the 20th round. So I really think there's a lot to digest in that position. How many do you get as well in roto leagues? Do you go with 3 closers? Do you go with 1 closer, just 1 all-star closer? There's a lot of different strategies that you can use with this relief pitcher.
For sure. And there's always guys that don't even get drafted that end up closing a lot of games too.
Yeah.
So it's a tough one to gauge, a different one to handle as well. How do you handle it? Do you like to get one of those elite guys, or do you want to go for the, wait later and get several of the middling guys?
I usually go with 2. I usually want to try to get an elite one, kind of one before 100 ADP, and then I also try to get one that's kind of in the lower end that still is projected to be the closer. But like maybe a guy around 170. So he's projected to be a closer, but you don't have to pay a big price tag for him to be that closer.
I'm kind of the same way. I usually try to get one of those anchor closers, but if I don't, I'm okay with it. And I might go even back-to-back closer in the middle rounds just to make sure that I get that spot with guys that I think are going to end up emerging at least and be get most of the save chances for their team. There's a couple guys on my list that I kind of feel like fit that mold. So we'll go over that now. All right, Logan, let's talk about the relief pitcher spot. Let's talk about a target. So someone you like that you feel comfortable getting on your roster.
Yeah, my first target, that's going to be right around that 100 ADP, and that's David Bednar. He currently has an ADP of 92. He had 39 saves last year. He had a 2 ERA. He might have been one of the most dominant closing pitchers in baseball. So the negative about him is that he plays for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they're not going to go out and they won't win 100 games like the Dodgers or the Braves or anything like that. But what is great about them is that most of their wins are usually close games. And as you need that save, you have to win by 3 or less. So Pittsburgh usually falls into that category, and that's why he had 39 saves last year. I expect that kind of result kind of in that area, maybe a little bit less. 39 is a huge number for closers, but maybe 30 to 35 saves again this year. And I think that's a really reliable number for him. And he's going 92 overall, so you can take him in the 9th round.
So what you have to like about him too is the competition factor. He has none. There are nobody pushing him for save opportunities, so that's a plus as well. So
Absolutely.
like you said,
he might even get dealt at the trade deadline. That's usually
true too.
Pittsburgh does, and send him to a team and close for a better team.
So my target is Jose Alvarado of the Philadelphia Phillies. He is actually the 21st relief pitcher off the board. I know people are a little concerned about him holding on to that job, but he was fantastic in the playoffs and down the stretch last year, emerging as the closer for Philadelphia in their run last year in the playoffs. He had a 1.74 ERA for the entire year, 64 Ks, and just 41 and a third innings pitched. He has a 1.59 ERA this spring in 6 games, so he's done little to dispel the notion that he's going to be the closer for Philadelphia this year. You can get him 21st relief pitcher off the board, the 21st. So there are 20
that's great value. That is really good value for him.
I just think that the potential is there for him to be, a top 5 closer if all goes well and he keeps that job all year. So I love the value, and I'm getting him in a lot of leagues, I feel like right now, and I'm happy with it. All right, Logan, let's talk about the other end of things. So a fade, somebody we don't like that we're kind of scared of. Who do you got?
So my fade is going to be Edwin Diaz coming back from that knee injury. We all saw that happen, and it was very sad. But thankfully, he's back. He's returned. He just started pitching in spring training last week. He's looked well so far with spring training with that. What just concerns me is him just hopping back into where he was, that all-star caliber closer with that. And I also think the Mets are going to be a little bit worse this year. They've lost a couple key pieces. Their starting pitching isn't as great. Hitters are around the same as they have been in the past. So I think it's just going to be a down year for the Mets. And again, I don't think they're going to push Edwin Diaz to go out there and throw 65 to 70 innings again this year, kind of like what he's been used to with that. So I just have lower expectations for Diaz this year, and I don't want to waste a top pick on him.
You always have to worry about a player coming back from major injury like he is. So you don't know what's going to happen. And I'm good with fading him. I don't think I have him on a roster. All right, my fade is actually somebody from a really good team, and that's Evan Phillips. So he is the 11th relief pitcher off the board, but I just don't like the fact that he's not really entrenched as the closer in Los Angeles. Coach even came out this week and said he would get the brunt of the chances. That's not exactly, great encouragement from my perspective. If I'm going to use a high pick on him, the 11th relief pitcher off the board for a guy that's going to get the brunt of the chances, I just think that's too high of a price tag for a guy that might not be the full-time closer. Other guys are really good in that Dodger bullpen as well. So he has competition there. I'm not going to use that high of a pick on a guy that might not be getting, the majority of the save chances. So that scares me. All right, Logan, let's talk about a breakout. I think we actually, like we mentioned in previous videos, we don't exactly go over our picks beforehand. We like to kind of keep it, everybody's surprised, including ourselves. But we actually have the same breakout pitcher, I believe. So go ahead. I'll let you lead.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and talk about him, and that's Andres Munoz. And everything basically just screams breakout for him. He's going to be 25 years old this year, and he's locked in as Seattle's closer for this year. Seattle should be an okay team this year, probably right around 500 overall is my guess for them. But Munoz had 13 saves last year. He pitched 49 innings, and he had a 2.94 ERA. The year before that, he had a 2.4 ERA. He has shown last 2 years how dominant he's been, and Seattle now trusts him in that closing position. He currently has an ADP of 117, so you're going to get a starting closer for a guy outside the top 100 for the ADP. So it's definitely a guy that I think you can pair well as a number 2 closer for your team's roster. Or if you're wanting to wait a little bit, he could be a good number 1 option. Because I do think he's going to have a big breakout this year, and he's definitely going to be going over 14 saves that he had last year after he got that role late. I'll probably be looking around 30 saves for him this year.
I agree. I think Munoz is going to have a breakout season. Look good after they traded Paul Sewald to the Diamondbacks. He's the unquestioned closer, Munoz. Little competition there in that Seattle bullpen. And I just like the metrics if you look at them. So he's 99th percentile in whiff percentage last year, 95th percentile in K percentage, 98th percentile in fastball velocity. At his average fastball is 99 miles per hour, and he can touch, over 100. So I think the metrics are there. They show everything great for Munoz. I think he's going to have a big season as that closer in Seattle. I actually like them for more wins than you're calling for. I think they'll be a little better than that. I think they could push that 90-win mark and maybe challenge for a playoff spot. So yeah. I think
Munoz
that helps the value.
He has 194 strikeouts and only 137 innings. That is just, again, closers do have better strikeout numbers compared to innings pitched compared to starters, but those are really good numbers for Munoz. So
for sure. So we're going to talk about rookies now. I know, Logan, it's tough to try to find a rookie relief pitcher because a lot of them don't have defined roles as closers. So I'm just going to give you somebody that I'm thinking of, and I'll let you get your thoughts on that. And that's Jordan Leisure of the Chicago White Sox. So their closer situation's terrible right now. It's just not good. And Leisure's making a case for it. He's having a great spring. He is not allowed a run in 7.1 innings, and he's given up just 2 hits. So why not take a chance on him late? I know John Brebbia is kind of the guy they're talking about that may close. Now he's banged up a little bit. He's never really been a closer either. He's bounced around the league a lot. I know the White Sox might not be very good, but I think Leisure is worth a shot late in the draft. There's a lot of chatter about him maybe opening the season as a closer. I think he's the 19th best prospect for the White Sox right now as well. He has no major league experience, so it'd be a it's definitely taking a chance on him, but it's looking like he's going to make the team and has a chance to be the closer. So I like taking a chance on him, especially if you're in a deeper format. And that was the 2024 Fantasy Baseball Relief Pitcher Preview for this season. Logan, thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. And just for everyone, remember to fill out a March Madness bracket on RT Sports. Starts on Thursday. So, yeah, you can go under that basketball tab and you can fill out your own March Madness bracket and create a pool right here on RT Sports.
Yep, it's totally free. So we do it out of the goodness of our heart. You can run your leagues on our site. It's with all different options for scoring as well. It's always a lot of fun getting into those.
For sure.
All right, Logan, thanks again. I really appreciate it. And thanks to everybody out there for watching. As always, get in the league here at RealTime Fantasy Sports, rtsports.com. Click on that Money League link and sign up for a fantasy baseball league before the season starts next week. This has been Jeff Paur with RealTime Fantasy Sports. Have a great day.